All right, welcome everybody to the Canal Street Riverfront Park. We're just going to do a walkthrough. This is our official Taking Down the Fences tour. The grand opening will be this spring, but we just wanted to open it up for winter use since it's such an exciting asset for Penacook to be able to open it up for you all. So thank you for coming out. So I just want to introduce a few people that are here. We have Councilor Todd and Councilor Michelle Horne, your local city councilors. See anybody else? We have Matt Walsh, Deputy City Manager, Community Development, Tim Thompson, Assistant Community Development Director. We have people here from Milestone, Geoff and Karl, who built this park and did an absolutely amazing job. We have Paige from H.L. Turner, who worked on some of the structural work. Anybody else that worked on the project? David Gill and Laura Bryant from Parks and Recreation. If you want to pick any of us out for ask questions as we walk through. But I'm going to have Bob White, who is the landscape architect that designed this beautiful park, and he'll just kind of walk us around, just give you some cues to some of the interpretive elements. We still have more benches to come in, signage to come in, so more things will be coming in the spring. So when you see, plywood that's spray painted over there, that'll be replaced. Don't worry. And we just put out the seed and the sod, so we have little signs up everywhere asking people to stay off, just so it can get rooted. The better care we take of it over the winter, the earlier we can open it up for everybody to enjoy. So we'll just take a walk around. Should be a quick walk. Thanks for coming out on this cold day. Help yourself to donuts and coffee to help you fuel your walk. And I'll pass it over to Bob, and we'll just take a walk. Thanks. Oh, did I introduce myself? I'm Beth Fenstermacher from the city of Concord.
Best client ever.
Oh.
Best client ever.
Record that. Thanks,
Bob. This has been really a wonderful process for the past, 2 years ago? I think.
January of 22, I think we hired you, yes.
Yeah. So we're almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. So, and what we have loved about this place is that almost any direction you turn, this place has a story. And we have tried to sort of draw that up. And so I'll just give you an example. Is the placement of this building, the front edge there, is right along the wall of what used to be a canal along Canal Street. And we didn't want to go any further underneath the wall because we wanted to make sure that we didn't find the bottom of the canal with 70 years of fill that had been there. But what it gave us was an opportunity. There was a building, sort of an administration building, that actually spanned the canal in the original mill site here. So we sort of brought a building back with the pavilion so that it could address and be a part of the street. What you'll find in the spring, and I know this is supposed to be a surprise, but you all will have fun because now you know the story of it, is in the spring, along this section right here, which is covered with pine needles, there will be 3,000 blue bulbs will come into flower. And they'll be there for a week, and then they'll be gone. And that will be basically sort of let's call it a little flash mob garden in memory of the water that used to flow through here. So we had fun with that. Out in that direction over there, we'll walk over. We have 2 canoes that are sort of a canoe as a metaphor. But one of the really long histories of this place that's like 10,000 years old is the top of the falls. Before there was a dam, this was a fishing location for Native Americans who came to here. And so there are the falls with about 100 feet of drop down to the level of the Merrimack. And this could have been sort of a general area where they might have pulled to shore. So we thought having canoes sort of a memory of that part of history. Now, those canoes weigh 3,500 pounds apiece of steel and ipe. But we just thought it would be a nice way to sort of tell the story of that but have it be as much a metaphor as anything. It's been super fun working here because a lot of the crew, whether it's the paving company that gave me a great hat one afternoon, or the stonemasons, or the landscapers, we probably have had a dozen people here, maybe more here on the project, who have lived in this community and have told us stories of when they used to come down and take a 6-pack down behind the mill and just go fishing or do what they wanted. So we've had stories of history, stories of of use of the things here. We've heard stories from people and trying to translate it. And then also, they have really been, and whether it's Milestone or all the different subs, the stonemasons out here have done some of the best stonework we've ever had in my entire 40-year career out here. It's really beautiful stonework, and we just threw them a mountain of stone and said, make it beautiful. And they're like, oh boy, okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Oh, and it's all reclaimed from the site. It's all pulled from the old mill buildings that were demolished. So anyways, we can walk around a little bit if you like. So I do want to mention Chris Saris over there with the red hair and the black coat. Chris was my right hand on all of this, putting all the plans together, calculating all the quantities of plants. Every inch of this place has been at his hand, his guiding hand or his guiding mouse, putting all the plans together. Just want to acknowledge, and Chris had some days out here helping supervise, organizing getting all the locations of all the plants down so that everything really came out nice. So just want to acknowledge really great associate to work with. So there's a couple stories here. So these are the canoes. These are made locally in Concord by a local cabinet maker. The metal on here is supposed to rust. It will turn sort of a rusty brown, and then the wood on top will turn gray. Now, we were hoping to do this at about 4:30, 4:45 tonight, because what happens is when the lights come on, there are little slices in the deck of the top of the bench here, and the light will shine up through that. And the intent is to have it be sort of, again, we're talking metaphor here. It's sort of like the lines in birch bark. So the wood will turn silver, and they'll have these little lights coming up through. This is a bit of an experiment. And over here, the pipe here, which is set at playground height for the kids to climb all over and play with the steering wheels and everything, that was in the basement of the old concrete block building that was out on the shore there. Lifted all those pipes together, and Karl and company found a way, including finding new plates and new bolts, to put the whole thing back together. And it was quite a little adventure getting it all set and getting it all balanced into place, and then hanging that big piece on the right there, hanging it all, and seeing the whole thing kind of go. Somebody jumped on board and brought it back down so we could attach it to the foundation that's 4 feet down in the ground underneath it. So that's all part of the piping system of what was called the pump house that would have generated probably steam for powering the mill when there was an electric generating plant kind of in this vicinity of where we're standing right now. So every inch has something going on. Most of the plants along the river are basically riverfront buffer ecological species. They'll have nice flower in the spring, color in the fall. So this area here, this sort of knoll, as subtle as it is, we had two things that we wanted to accomplish in terms of outdoor activities and performances. One of which was the smart idea to have the pavilion, if it starts raining and there's a concert, that somebody with a nice violin or guitar can go under the roof and be protected from the weather. So a portion of this high ground looking in that direction has the pavilion as both a stage as well as a protected cover. On the other hand, if you would like to have the river be the background for a concert, there can be a concert right here and everybody can just kind of turn around and look the other direction. So it's sort of a two-sided arrangement here for it. And we're pretty excited. We get the Rolling Stones coming in July, so we're going to have a really good concert here. We'll probably have a few noise citations, but that's okay. We'll get a permit for it. All of these groves of these sort of multi-stem, these are all serviceberries, which is a native riverbank plant. It will have beautiful white flowers very early in the spring, and then in the fall they all turn sort of a really really wonderful sort of burgundy red. Most of this, since we planted most of this in November, it all arrived sort of leaf dropped. But anyways, it should be really sort of a nice. Underneath here, about 2 feet down, is the protective cap covering over the old hazardous site. So we had to be careful about what we planted. So we didn't have depth of soil for full-size trees out here, because they would have gone into and really, they would have sort of mangled the membrane and potentially been just too shallow rooted, and we don't want to have, have a windstorm come here and come back someday and find half of the trees blown over sideways. So we start with smaller things that are, not full-size trees. That tree right there is just outside the cap. So we were able to plant those, and then the other ones going down along the river. Why don't we go over here? So you might never have noticed what was out here previously, but basically a big concrete block box with a 8-inch concrete slab on the roof of it, and then inside of it was all that piping for the pump house. So we didn't know exactly what we were going to be able to afford to do with this in the project, so it sort of got held out till the end, at which point we knew we were on schedule and under budget, at which point we could then draw from some of the contingency funds to do the decking and the layers. And then we had some leftover e-pay one afternoon. I said, Karl, can we make some benches up on those and use that wood up? And he's just like, you're just like me. If I have a pile of lumber at home, I will make a project out of it, and then I'll end up going and buying all sorts of more lumber to finish it off. So we had fun with these coming together. These don't have lights inside of them, but just a fun place to sit here. And one of the things about almost everything in the park, except for these stairs here and over there, is the entire park is completely handicapped accessible for people to pretty much get wherever they want comfortably. So we're super pleased with how that every option of place to get. You have that opportunity with a wheelchair. So the wood here is called ipe. It's a very weatherproof wood. This wood will last probably longer than the pressure treated framing underneath it. It's kind of heavy, sort of like locust, but it will all weather to a really nice sort of silver gray like color, and. So yeah, and we had fun with the railings out here. The power company had within their zone of influence, they needed the extra high security fence there for basically protecting, keeping people out of the hydro dam. That's the inflow area right there where that grading is right around the corner. So and then, as you may know, they put their buoys, they called boom piers out, or they put buoys out here for safety from people coming down in boats. Any questions? Let me just walk around the end and. Good job, Bob. Oh, I did want to say one thing. I've never done this before, but I'm really pleased with how it came out. So one of the translations of Penacook is river with tall pine trees, and so all of the mulch are pine needles. Now they are not white pine from New Hampshire. I don't know what pine. I think they're Austrian pine or maybe red pine, and I don't know where they come from, but it really is going to be. We really wanted to have it really feel like a natural forest floor. Eventually, this will all grow up, and we don't have pine trees, but we have spruce and fir trees, and so. We'll have a really nice sort of ecological touch to all of this. We don't have any crimson red wood chip mulch anywhere, so quite happy about that. You'll see these pedestals here. There are 4 of those located in various places, and each of them will have in the spring At our hard opening, our full opening, there'll be interpretive panels telling different aspects of the story, the industrial history of the site, the presence of Native Americans in pre-colonial time, the history of water power, and then some other anecdotes that we haven't really completely scripted out yet. So we're working with the Historical Society and other entities to get cool images and even some stories to go along with that. That'll be a nice winter effort to put those together, and then they're going to be printed on a rigid, a really nice sort of museum grade panels that'll be screwed in there. But we wanted to get them in place so they're all ready, and they're exactly going to fit the signs, the screw holes on the back of the sign panels. So that's what we got.
This has been a more than a 20-year effort on the part of the city of Concord. There are many people here that have been part of that process from day one. So many thanks to the Penacook Village Association, who has hosted countless meetings about how to redevelop the tannery site and the planning of this park. Many thanks to them. Many thanks to Briar Hydro. Part of this park is on property they own. We have an easement to allow that to happen, so they were very cooperative, and we appreciate that relationship. Many thanks to the City Council, who has stuck with this project for more than 2 decades and has paid dividends, and there were times that it was very difficult, and there were very few times it was easy. and so kudos to the City Council for really solving this problem that started in 1987 and here is today. This park was actually planned as part of a master plan in 1986, believe it or not. So it's come to fruition. And the park network I talked about is part of the 2015 Penacook Village Plan. So how planning really drives all these things, and it takes time to get there, but once you arrive, it's very sweet. So thank you very much. Thank you to H.L. Turner. Thank you to Milestone. Thank you to the subcontractors. Thank you to Craig Walker, who worked on this when he was at the city. GPI, yes, who was our landscape architect. All good people. Appreciate the involvement.
Well, this is, I think, a wonderful day for Penacook to be able, for the first time, to actually come into the park, have members of the park be able to come, members of the public be able to come into the park for the first time. There'll be an official opening in the spring once all of the work is completed. But you can see already the care and attention to detail that's gone into putting this park together. I just want to give special thanks to the City of Concord for their hard work, city staff, in putting this together. How about a round of applause for Mr. Walsh also?
Yeah.
Fantastic work. So I hope to see you all come out and enjoy your new park in Penacook.